Good morning, students. As I have promised that I would be sending you a video on the startup process, project life cycle, and preparation of project report. So here we go. Uh, now, there is a question in front of all the entrepreneurs that how to set up a business, and before setting up a business, what should be the startup process? So there are two important things. We should know that what is the process of starting a new business, where we would like to register ourselves first, and then how to prepare a project report. If you remember, we have discussed that project report is prepared to propose the proposal in front of all those investors, angel investors, or venture capitalists to get that project, to get through with that project. So the startup process includes that how many ways are there by which we can register ourselves. So gone are the days when we physically go to the staff offices and then we fulfill the physical forms. Nowadays, everything is online. So with the help of their website information, you can submit your, you know, process. You can submit the process of registering yourself as a new startup. So I'm going to discuss with that. So in this case, you can see that the first way which we have chosen for this is that Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So you need not to go to the corporate office for registration purpose. It can be done while sitting at home. The registration include digital signature certificate, director identity number, and the e-form of the e-form would be there that you have to fill. So there are four major steps to register a company or a startup in India. The first one is you have to acquire a digital signature certificate. And the Information Technology Act 2000 has provisions for use of digital signature on the documents submitted in electronic form in order to ensure that the security and authenticity of the documents filed electronically. The second step is to acquire the director identification number. The concept of director identification number has been introduced for the first time with the insertions of section 266A and 266G of Companies Amendment Act 2006. Then third step is we can create an account on MCA portal, that is new user registration @ mca.gov.in. And the fourth step is incorporate or apply for the company to be registered. So the kind of organization or the company which we want to register, we have to incorporate that company. Then these are the list of documents. We have to be ready with those documents before submitting the information on the website. So original copy of formal letter issued by registrar of companies regarding availability of company name. Then DIN, we have already discussed that, director's identification number. Then DSC, that is digital signature certificate. Then form 1 for incorporation of company. Then form 18 for situation or address of the proposed company, and form 32 for particulars of proposed directors, managers, and secretary. So these are the documents we should be ready with them before applying on website electronically. You have to upload these documents on that particular site after opening your uh, new registration number. So second way is that you can even register through micro, small, and medium enterprises MSME register. You have to just go to this site and then you can register yourself. Uh, because it also required like the MSME registration, Udyog Aadhaar registration, update MSME data bank. There are different icons available. So we have to go to MSME registration and put the information which is required. So MSME online self-registration form would open, and there we can write the name of business enterprise, the type of business. For example, you are in a manufacturing business or a service business, or new or existing business, like the kind of business which is not available here. Business start date, or from which date you are going to incorporate your production process. Enter your email, and then full name of applicant as printed on Aadhaar card. So this is how you can register yourself on micro, small and medium enterprises. So we have discussed two ways. One, we can do it with the help of Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and second, we can go for MSME register. Then if you want to start a company, then you can directly go to Ministry of Corporate Affairs. But if you're starting a proprietorship or suppose a private ownership, then you can go for MSME registration. Another important way for registering yourself is you can even register with the District Industry Center. Now we have already discussed what are DICs. So if you remember, we have discussed that the district industry centers are available in different states, and the TDIC, that is trade and district industry centers, are available in states. So districts and states, in all these cases, we have the DICs. DIC registration online, you can even apply online with the help of this website. So this is the website which I have shown to you. You can go over there. You have to do Udyog Aadhaar registration, and then you can quickly register yourself as the new venture. So these are the three ways by which a new startup process can register themselves. Another important part of this unit is the project life cycle and how to prepare a project report. What should be the content of project report? Because we need to discuss project life cycle first, because it is given in your syllabus that what is identification phase, what is formulation phase, and what is implementation phase. So we need to understand first that what is identification phase. So if you remember, we have discussed that project life cycle first, and in case of project life cycle, I discussed that identification, formulation, appraisal, implementation, and post evaluation. These are the 5 ways by which we can evaluate a project, because every project has to go through with all these phases. Now, what is identification? Identification is when we conceive some new idea. Maybe you generate that idea by yourself, or you generate that idea by seeing some problem. Because once you see problem, you can convert that problem into an opportunity. So you generate some idea, and then maybe you can generate more than one idea, 3 idea, 4 idea. So you need to scan those ideas. So proper scanning is required, and then you move further. That is what the formulation. Now formulation, as per the name suggests, we are talking about planning. So here, being an entrepreneur, we need to analyze the feasibility of the project. And feasibility of the project includes technical feasibility, the marketing feasibility, the environmental feasibility, and the financial feasibility. If your project is fit according to all those feasibility, that means you can go further. So that is how this is a check for your once you conceive the idea, once you have generated that idea, now you have to formulate that idea before implementing. So if your idea is not up to the mark, you may identify that what kind of feasibility is not available, and how can we improve that feasibility so that our idea would be workable. Third important part is appraisal. You need to appraise your project, because some financial mathematics is there, some methods are there, like present value method is there, some capital budgeting techniques are there, by which you can appraise your project, whether your project is according to the capital budgeting methods or not. That, like NPV method or IRR method, these are certain methods by which you can evaluate your project. Now, after appraising your project that we should go for this or not, whether the NPV is positive or negative, what kind of results are there, on the basis of that we implement that project. Now, implementation requires a lot of skill set which is available in case of entrepreneur. So it is all about the intrinsic capabilities of entrepreneurs. So expeditious completion within the allocated resources. That means they have to properly utilize the resources, and you have to utilize the resources in such a manner so that the maximum output can be generated. The last phase of project life cycle is post evaluation. That means whatever we have planned, now we have to evaluate that. So for evaluating that, we need to understand that predetermined objectives are meeting out with the results or not. And if output is not like that, that means we have to review our project. And that means we need to again either identify or formulate our project. So these are, the phases of project life cycle. First one is identification, the second one is formulation, third one is appraisal, fourth is implementation, and last one is post evaluation. Now, after these kind of phases, now we need to understand that what we should do to identify some, good or sound project ideas. Now, it is very simple. Suppose you want to generate an idea, because lot many times we get a problem in generating ideas. So if you are reading the industry's reports regularly, if you are seeing the report, the inputs and outputs of the industries, you are reading the manuals of industries, you are actually seeing the guidelines of government for setting up a new project, uh, you have already evaluated the techno-economic and social surveys. These are the methods by which you can select some sound project ideas. Social and economic trend, what kind of trends are there, and how can we improve, or how can we introduce our project in these kind of trends? What kind of requirements are there, or what kind of reports are there about uh, the entrepreneurship of a particular country, and some report of international organization like IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Asian Development Bank, and some regional integrations like SARC, NAFTA, AFTA. So what kind of report they are making? Like you can even evaluate on the basis of Moody's rating, on the basis of Standard Poor's rating, that what kind of ratings are there. That means you can identify that sector first, which is actually a hot sector. Suppose you select a hot sector, this is how you can select the sound project idea. The next one we have already discussed, that how to analyze that idea first. So if you generate some idea, if you have already generated that idea, now somebody else has generated that idea, and you want to start with that. So you have to first of all you have to find out that whether this idea is according to the economic needs of the country or not, whether the idea is according to the priority of the national projects or not. Then you may want to excel your own standard, or you want to excel the standards set by other, the use of scarce resources. So in this way you can start with the project, that is the identification phase. So the identification phase include two things: one, generation of idea, and two, the selection of idea or scanning of that idea. So idea generation, as you see a problem, you can convert that problem into an opportunity, because until and unless you don't you see the problem, you won't be able to identify new opportunity. So we see a problem or we see an opportunity. This is an example of an innovative idea. This is about the DGI music team. They developed a unique computer program which allows music to be read on laptop screen and the pages turned with the help of a mouse click paddle. So once they organize some music recital, and the pianist manuscript uh, performance was going on, and somehow the pianist manuscript fell onto the floor during the performance, and then they didn't able to change the pages. So the whole concert which was going on interrupted for a time being. So what makes this innovative? That means they learn from their mistake, and then they identify some opportunity in that. So they designed a system in which they need not to use their hands, because some pianist would be there and he would be using his hands to, you know, playing the piano. So in this way, the hands are not free. So they devised that mouse click paddle system should be there, and this paddle can be changed with the help of, or paddle can be done with the help of their foot. So in this way, they can easily identify the problem and convert it into an opportunity. So this is how some innovative ideas are there where you can do this. Then what is a project report? Because we need to understand this also. what is a project report and what kind of contents are there. Being a before starting the content of project report, we should know why should we prepare project report. So whenever you go to financial angel investors or venture capitalists, they would always require, they would always be interested in knowing the numbers, and numbers are totally dependent on your the proposal of the report. So what kind of proposal you are making? It is a formal plan which includes all those things, like it may be like why is it being proposed, what is the work that will be performed on the project, then who will be involved, what kind of product and services you are offering, then when will the particularly the milestone will be completed. That means we are talking about that what would be the return on investment. So in this way, some basic things are there in the project report. It is a blueprint. It is a formal plan, advanced plan, and that is why it is prepared in advance, so that we can get the financial help or assistance through venture capitalist or the investors, the angel investors or bank or financial institutions. These are the points which always be remembered by the project manager or the entrepreneur while preparing the project report, that what are all points to be covered in the project area, whether any consultant or auditor has to be contacted to prepare the project report. If you think that you are not able to prepare your project report, you need to consult with the CAs or some consultants or some auditors for preparing your report. Nowadays, if you go to DIC, they can also help you out in preparing the project report. If you register yourself in DIC, then, and if you go to the if you want to seek some advisory help or assistance from Madhya Pradesh consultancy, then they can also consult you how to prepare a project report. So this is how, if you want some expertise, hand should be there so that you can prepare a perfect project report that would definitely pass by the venture capitalist. Then you can consult some you know financial you can consult some financial consultant or CAs or auditors. Then how to present the project report. I've already discussed that the venture capitalist and the investor, they are only interested in numbers. That means in how many days you would return back that amount. What would be the ROI? So how to present that report, that is also very very important. Then comes to the detailed project report. What kind of contents are there? Detailed project report is a document which contain all important details about a project, some organization for development of the project, and there are like some KVIC, MSME, DIC, MPCon. These are the organization which may help you in preparing the project. Then what is the vision of entrepreneur? What will he do and how long? Where is the value being added? This is something very very important, because if you're coming out with a substitute product, then the angel investor or the venture capitalist, they are going to ask this question, that what is your USP? So maybe your USP is location, maybe your USP is a customer target, customer base, maybe it's your price strategy. Because if you compare your the penetration pricing strategy or a skimming pricing strategy, then it may be the source of attraction. For example, if you remember that when Amul, they came out with their chocolates, the Cadbury's has already tapped that market. So Amul people, they were knowing it, that how to tap this market without penetration of this market. We won't be easily we won't get easy entry to this. So what they decided low penetration pricing strategy. So in fact, you can see the price of Amul chocolates are still lesser in case of in even in today's environment, if you compare it with the price of Cadbury. So this may be USP of Amul. So in this way, what is your USP? You need to highlight that USP first. How the competition is being evaluated, whether the competition is direct or indirect. For example, you are preparing, producing a product for retailers, or you are producing a product for customers. So what kind of competition is there? It is a direct competition or indirect competition, and how many competitors are there. So what would be your market share in total market? These are the content of the detailed project report. We need to write background of the project, objectives of the project. Then we have to do the formulation of the project or feasibility analysis through technical, market, financial, and then environmental analysis. And lastly, we appraise the project and then we implement it. So these are some content of the project report. Now what we should write in background? We should write that the promoter's background, promoter's contribution, the promoter's qualification, their experiences, the information about the product and all, and what is the need behind this product. Why do we, introducing this product? Why do you want to produce that service or product, offer that service or produce that product? So that is what going to decide that what would be your objective. So in this way, you need to prepare your content of the reports. This is about the promoters' information, their existing status of business, management, infrastructure facilities, their clientele, and their strategic tie-ups. Then this is what the technical appraisal. The object of technical appraisal is to examine the technical feasibility of the project. Now, technical feasibility of the project is very, very difficult to understand because somehow the technical appraisal requires that what would be the location of the project, what would be the plant, where do we, having that plant, where do we have that plant, then what kind of technology we are selecting, layouts kya hai, process of production, the product mix, and the plant capacity. In fact, total number of employment is also part of technical appraisal. So, this in this way you can make technical appraisal. The market and demand analysis. You need to estimate of present and future demand. You have to, the market and demand analysis is basically related to 4 P's. So you need to identify the product, price, place, and promotion. And all these things will come under market and demand analysis. And they are going to decide that what would be your target market, how would you distribute your product, and whether it is a product or service, and what would be the price of that product or service. So in this way, you can do it. The market and demand analysis can be understood with the help of pilot study. So you need to, because this study is very, very important whenever you are proposing your project in terms of venture capitalist and angel investor. They would always like to see these kind of things, that whether you have done some pilot study and what is the feedback of those investor or that target market where you focus your product. This is about market and demand analysis. What is a business, whether the product hai or service hai, 4 P's are there: industry, IT, reality, power. What kind of industry you have selected, B2B hai or B2C hai. What kind of government regulations are there, market size kitna hai, and how many competitors are there. So this is how the market analysis include all these things. This is what the financial appraisal, and this is this is one of the important part of your project report, because whenever you are getting some loans or some financial assistance from uh, you know different venture capitalists, then you would always have to prepare with all these kind of numbers. So this required estimation of the cost, estimation of the return or surpluses, the total cost of the project, the kind of financial assistance which are available to us. So in this way, the financial appraisal would be there. So first of all, you need to prepare a project cost. And in case of project cost, you should have cost of site and site development, cost of building and structure, cost of plant and machinery, permanent working capital, preliminary expenses. So once you add all these, it would actually equals to your total project cost. Then comes to the project revenues. We need to apply a financial model which is actually very clear, which brings clarity and is preferred by lenders and investors. So whenever you're proposing your project in front of lenders or investors, you need to be very, very realistic, because that is going to work. So project report. Now some numbers in which the investors are interested: total amount of project cost, and break even point, in how many years you can recover that cost which we have incurred today. DSCR is also very important. That means the operating profit or your gross profit, and it is the ratio between the operating profit and gross profit and divided by its capital cost. So how much capital you have raised and how much cost of capital you need to pay. Then comes to the cash flow analysis, which is based on NPV, IRR, or profitability index method. These are some discounted cash flow technique. So you can appraise your project on the basis of that. And if your NPV is more than zero, we can select that project. And if it is a vice versa, we have to reject it. Then comes to the working capital requirement schedule. This is also very important. Current assets minus current liabilities is your working capital. If your current assets are more as compared to current liabilities, your working capital is positive, otherwise it is negative. Then we have already discussed about IRR, debt service coverage ratio, debt equity ratio, that should be 2:1, although it is available in the range between 1 to 2. These are the, once you've started your operation, you have total project cost in your hand. It may be financed by somebody else, but how to arrange that finance when you started uh, that operations. That means uh, at the time of operations, you need to have some working capital with you. And there are different ways by which you can have working capital finance. The first one is factoring. The second one is trade financing, then creditors funding, export financing, and then working capital finance. So working capital finance is that finance which is required for meeting out your day-to-day activities, and then you have to repay back this amount in a year. These are the checklists for preparing your project report. It should be clear and complete understanding. Then a reliable source of information should be there. Precise but presentable data should be there. And command over number should be there. That means you should know on your tips that this is the total project cost, this much of year in which we have to recover that cost. This would be our debt equity ratio. This would be our DSCR. So everything you need to command over numbers. Credible client and credible investor, and you need to maintain that confidentiality. Last one is appraisal, which we have already discussed, that you have to appraise this project, and then you have to implement that project. So appraisal also requires some qualitative aspects to appraise rather than some quantitative. So we can do SWOT analysis, and we can identify the what kind of project team and resources are they available, and role of responsibility of each should be clear. So this is how we are moving towards the project implementation, because we have already discussed that project implementation required that how much intrinsic capabilities are available in case of entrepreneurs, and then uh, they need to analyze on the basis of SWOT. The schedule of activities with timeline and the possible Gantt chart can be useful for you, because the Gantt chart includes that in how many days you will you will finish that activity. Last one is implementation, which we have discussed. So thanks a lot for your patient listening. I hope this startup process is clear to you, and it would help you in revising the fifth unit. So thank you, everyone.